Veneration of Medieval Mysticism and Cosmological Violence is the latest full-length album from Inquisition. This is a band that has been around in various forms since the late 80s, and it really didn't start until 1996 when the Dagon, the kind of main songwriter, moved on from an extreme thrash metal style and moved to the Seattle, Washington area and started playing black metal, and a very unique form of what I would have called bedroom black metal back in the days, where he essentially speaks the lyrics and does so with a very unique, almost droning, monotonous style. Probably don't need to explain Inquisition to anybody at this point, but I would rather point out where they started, because that's kind of when I became a fan. This wasn't a unique kind of underground band that a lot of people were talking about for years before they became popular, and it's important to remember that there were a lot of people who were really anticipating every move that they made at some point, because it was a pretty cool band for its time and its style. They were a band that incorporated kind of psychedelic influences with their sound. They were almost like a warlike stomp to some of their stuff. It was just like there were rock influences that were eventually incorporated to that sound. They seemed to be taking more chances and doing more with United States black metal than anyone else was, and they were doing it in a way which was still had riffs. Well, do they still have what's the good stuff here on this record? Absolutely. We'll just cut into one of the songs to show what's kind of vastly different and new feeling about this record, and then I'll kind of try to parse through it in as little time as possible.
In the forest before me is a ghost of war. 1,000 years ago, a spirit of iron will.
So I won't attempt to dig through like my personal experiences with Inquisition and my fandom and all that stuff, and not go through the long discography of the band, so much as to suggest that everything changed for the band around 2013 when they signed to Season of Mist and put out what was viably a much more melodic and different style of a record than they'd been producing before that. It was sort of their breakout record, and I didn't realize it at the time because I thought 2010 was their big peak. I really loved that album, and I sort of missed the stone-faced, zombified side of the band, rather than the more psychedelic, rocking edge of that record about 10 years ago. And they sort of had a couple of bumps along the way. They put out another record or two in the meantime, but this one reminds me all the things that I like about Inquisition in terms of all that they'd built up to 2013, and then included the rock influences in a very different way on this record. You can tell that Dagon has been working on a dungeon synth, or just playing the synth and keyboard more often, and incorporating that into this work is a big step to adding an extra layer to this, especially when it comes to time to produce a melody, an epic stanza, or just anything that breaks out from the more droning and attack of these pieces. And there are heavier but shorter pieces here overall. There's I think 13 songs, and they average about 3 minutes, some of them stretching a little bit above that, but nothing above 5 minutes. So we get a lot of ideas at a rapid fire rate, and they sort of burst past one another. It really feels like 2 records worth of material cinched up to just the essentials. And in that respect, we get the psychedelic side of the band, we get the melodic side of the band, we get the aggressive, faster paced and riff oriented side of the band. There's everything that Inquisition has done over the years without sounding like a cumulative record. It feels more like an additive experience where they've added more things to their vernacular and found new ways to fuse those ideas. I think there's maybe some play with guitar effects on this album around the midpoint that gets a little bit intoxicated with its just abundance of different guitar tones and effects. But that's always been something I really liked about the band, and I think that it helps to create a unique feeling for the record. So I'm nothing but a fan of this band. I've been a huge fan for years, and I think this is one of their. It's actually one of their better records. Saw some people saying it was kind of just average, and I couldn't agree less. This is one of my favorite records out in January. It came out last Friday, and I feel like the enjoyment of it really relies on the atmosphere created, the variety of it, and their quick to the point rally through song after song, which feels like it's infinitely repeatable because every experience only allows you so much time to source the highlight and move on. Otherwise, the immersion is available to every one of their records. It's kind of one of their key points of interest, and I would say the lyrics are just kind of the average spiel from the band, nothing too surprising. And the I did like the album art otherwise. So a lot of fine points on this record, and again, one definitely worth checking out. Go ahead and read my review for more of my thoughts in detail, and check out the album now.
Blood of the stars.